Hey guys, time for another 00CTOBER review. So let's round out the week with kind of the final evolution, so to speak, of the Tierens, since we spent the last couple days looking at the different Tierens. And you'll see what I'm saying as I go through this. But this is the HG GNX-704T SP ahead Smultron. Smultron. I keep adding an extra syllable like there's an I there. It's not Simultron, it's Smultron. Now, originally, this suit belonged to Soma Pieris before she left to go be with Celestial Being, and then it was adopted by Luis Halavi. Now, it is a special one made for people with quantum brainwaves, and because at this point Luis had been kind of upgraded, so to speak, she could pilot this thing. Now, I really, really want the standard ahead, and I really, really want the Mr. Bushido's ahead, but they're the hardest ones to get, and they have not been reprinted as far as I've seen. Now, this one is not a reprint, and I picked this one up locally. You'll see that in a little bit, but right here, we see the Smultron and an ALAWS GNX, like we looked at last year, because this is an ALAWS suit specifically. I don't believe any of the other Federation's forces had heads, and it is a form of GNX, so it's a GNX-704 as opposed to the GNX-601, if I remember correctly. if I can remember my math correctly. Anyways, so you've got Bandai 2009 down there in the corner, Bandai logo there, of course, double logo up there. I almost said 00CTOBER logo, but not so much. And you've got GN thruster, so it's got this huge backpack thingy that's meant to help thrust it in all directions. So I'm talking about like a 360-degree thing. It can spin, and it can swirl, and do all kinds of stuff like that. You can headbang, apparently. You've got GN gun thing that does stuff, and then the shield. And then you can gun with the gun, and then the GN beam saber. That's kind of a lie, kind of not. And then this can plug into that thingy, whatever that is. And then you've got, hey, there's probably a ghost over there. Abnormality detected. And then you got stuff for the face and stuff for the thing. There's just arrows everywhere. And it can go on a stand. They never made an ALAWS stand. That would have been really cool to get. Let's go this way. And you got number 41 in the line, pretty far down there. And got Smultron. All the things. 00 logo Bandai. And you've got the ALAWS logo there. Obligatory front and rear shots. Stuff there. 20.9 meters tall, 72.9 tons. All the GN toys. And you got the read up there on how it is a thing. And then you got there the two pilots of this particular suit. And then, of course, you've got little guy toilet. No warning for some strange reason. I guess this one is fine to jam in 3-year-olds' faces. And then you've got 1,200 yen. Nice, easy cost. Unfortunately, as we'll see by this other side, I paid $14.99. Which is not bad because I paid $20 for the frickin' Tierens space type. So, there we go. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, the box is all bent up. My bad. So, new type of GN suit. Still upside down. So, yay! Finally, we get to look at something really new that we've not looked at yet so far. Seems like we've had quite a few repeats this year. This is new! So let's check it out. It's turntable time! I'm just going to keep saying that so you guys always anticipate it now. Turning on. So, this one being after I built the Tierens, it struck me that this ended up being the evolution of the Tieren. You could tell that that particular country definitely had more of a hand in the design process when it came to these. Whereas the GNX was an almost wholly new design, probably sort of developed from other things, but not in the same way this was. And it wasn't until I got to the arms with the way they plug in, and then the legs. The legs are almost exactly the same as the Tieren in the hips, the way they sheath together, the universal joint in the hips, all of that. And then, of course, some of the design here in the arms is all very different to even, say, the GNX. And it's a heck of a lot closer to the Tieren. So let's get closer looks at everything. Now, one thing you will notice is the bright gold. I did paint all of the gold with, well, with the exception of these little lights here. I did paint all of the gold with Tamiya Gold Spray Can. So I wasn't going to go with the dull gold plastic that they had, or even a sticker like this was. I wanted it to look good, and being that it's one of the few kits that I took the time to actually sit down and paint a lot of details on, I wanted it to be good. So the cool thing is, look at the head. It's got a very interesting, very kind of samurai look to it, even with a top knot sort of deal going on here. I dig that. It's got little Vulcans and cat ears of all things right there. So I painted those with a little bit of good gray. You got a little gold underneath there. That is a sticker. Then the cool stuff. Then you got the quad eyes like the GNX has, but the cool metallic blue instead. I dig that. And I believe it's a hinge at the base. Maybe it's a double ball joint. I think it's a double ball joint. Just not the same as a standard one. But it's neat nonetheless. The way that the chest is layered is very cool. Like, there's some good part separation and even a sticker underneath here. And then even like this gold piece here is a whole separate piece. And so, I mean, it's a very neat assembly, very different. And so the shoulders are mounted kind of like a Gundam. So you've got some of the universality here, but you also have the butterfly forward. Also just like the Tierens, except it's not coming around like a sliding thing. Once again, these lights are also indicative of the kind of shoulder top lights. And then the sleeve kind of thing that goes over the shoulder, very much Tierens. Same thing with these shoulder, like GN vents, I believe is what they probably are. Now they are pivoting out here on a thing, but you can move it around. But that's very similar to the ground type. Then you got the bicep rotation. You rotate it up. And then you've got a high Dyson. And then, of course, like I said, bicep rotation, you do get a single jointed elbow, only good for about 90. That sounds familiar. You do get this cool shield. That should look familiar too. Very much one of these shoulder shields. Once again, very nice part separation. It can rotate, looks good. A little bit of paint right in there just for the heck of it. And then the wrist down here, ball joints. But you get the GNX back of the hand. So that's pretty cool. So once again, because it is a GNX, just a different model, it does have that kind of stuff. It does have ab movement also. Hey, what else had ab movement? I think it was Tierens. And then it can rotate as well, which is nice. These side skirts are kind of funky. I don't know what's going on with them, and they're pretty much kind of solid. They just rotate, and I don't know what's up with that. They just put a shelf. Now let's talk about the backpack, because it does have this really crazy GN thruster. Now, I will say this. For those who have built this kit, and you're looking at this and going, hey, how did they get a white GN drive? The GN drive for this kit comes in completely black. You would have to paint it white to get it there. I borrowed this from one of the GNXs I had last year. And something I thought because it had the same ring that's straight up like a GNX drive, I thought it would just whoop on there. Nope, it's actually a different peg on the inside. It's actually a smaller peg than the ones from the GNX have. So this is just held in place mostly with some sticky tack. So just being honest with you guys and gals. Now this does spin full 180. I like the details. I think it looks good. I like the thrusters, and it does flip-flop like this, so it really does give you a lot of movement. It's kind of cool. And then you got this little piece here, which is also like a thruster. Once again, painted all that gold. I like that they at least gave you the part separation so that all of the gold, for the most part, were their own individual pieces, with the exception, once again, of this, which was actually, I had to paint over that, I believe, because this should have been a sticker. Now, coming back down to the legs, you get hips that are exactly like the Tierens. Exactly. Can kick super forward for a nice chorus line. You can actually go backwards. There is nothing in the back to get in the way. He can kick himself in his own GN drive, or her own, technically speaking, because only female pilots piloted this thing. And you'll notice here, got a little bit of gray, so I did paint this. This is just some of that gray Gundam marker I was using. You can see that the mix wasn't perfect. It's not dry totally. And the same thing here in the crotch. That's all was supposed to be gray, so just gave it a quick, blast of paint. Just painted it on with a brush. And then you've got these guards, I guess. They're just floppy. Kind of pointless, if I'm honest. And you do get, I don't think there's a hinge. I think that's just straight up, Yeah. And these parts here are supposed to be gray. I did spray those with some German gray. Just made it real easy because all that part just kind of sets over there. So it needed to be another color. It wasn't supposed to be solid black like the color it came in. So I've painted that with German gray, as I am one to do with trying to make these things colorfully accurate. That's probably not the words I really wanted to use, but hey, I did. Now, he does have pretty much one weapon, or rather she does, I should say. And it is this GN machine gun of sorts. A little bit of gray paint there. Not a whole lot going on, if I'm honest, but it's simple yet effective. A little bit of gray paint there. And you can actually make it shorter, like a snub nose version, I guess, if you really are inclined. And this back section does have a little bit of a hinge to it. So the butt of the rifle does have some hingey. So if you want, you can just plug this into the hand and plug that into the forearm like a GN-powered weapon. That's freaking awesome. And then that does move ever so slightly when you need it to. Now, this actually has weapon storage. You guys know I love weapon storage. By the way, this little camera sensor thingy, not really camera, it's more or less a sensor, does come off very easily. And you got these slots here on the thighs, and it can plug into that. Just kind of tilt that, get it in there, lock it down, and boom. You've got weapon storage. It's goofy as hell, but it's there. And it digs that. Now, it does come with a beam saber. It's one of those beam sabers that is a single clear rod and handle. So that's garbage. We're not using that. Though I do have what I believe are spare GNX beam sabers. I don't know where these came from. I thought they went in this box. It does not come with those. And it should, technically speaking, have orange beam sabers because it is a GN Tau drive. So it's not really going to have the nice, cool pink stuff. It's going to be a little bit different. So I like that, at least in universe and continuity, you know, they do have some differences in the tech. Now, I have mentioned repeatedly that this thing is based off of Tierens. So it was definitely developed from this girl. So probably not a coincidence that the pilot of this ended up piloting this. And you can see, just by looking at it, there are a lot of similarities. And you'll also see that the head is huge. Like, you remember the Tierens are already big. They're already big, bulky things. They're taller than Exia. Look at the difference in the head to Exia. That is ridiculous. Like, forget just the back piece. The head is a good 2 heads taller than one of the mainline Gundams. And see, like, even compared to Space Typey, who is the tallest Tieren, still taller. Like, it's crazy. And then Green Boy, so you can see the shield, like, where I'm really seeing that these things are similar designs here. I mean, you can look at the forearms. They're very similar in design. It's somewhere in between a GNX and one of these things. And by that, I mean the Jinx 3s or the ALAWS Jinx 3s. Speaking of, let's bring out the other ALAWS kit we've got. And you can see the size difference in the GNX to the head. And honestly, these are 2 of my favorite kits at this point. Like, I really do dig them. I like the ALAWS colors. We went over this guy last year. Go check out that review if you want for Jinx Week. There was almost a Jinx Week this year, but I couldn't bring myself to buy that many P Bandai GNX kits this year. Instead, I found this, and I was actually very happy. So, you know, the fact that now I know, you know, there are other GNX kits out there, such as the normal ahead and the Mr. Bushido's ahead, which I need so that I finally have hologram maker suits. I need that for next year. I need to find it, and I need to find it for a good price. But so far, yay for these things. And once again, like, I don't think I've compared the GNX to a Gundam. Even the GNX is taller than Exia. So that's actually, I realized that from last year. I never compared it to an actual mainline Gundam. So yay for that. I mean, sweet weapons development. And, oh, here. Let's just show this off here. So while I'm thinking about it before I put that away. The GN drives. So you can see that they were clearly made out of like the same factory, same core unit, stuff like that. And once again, I stole this out of one of these kits. So, and I'm trying to find a blank one. I didn't have a blank one anywhere, and this is the only white-ish colored one I could spare. So once again, I have a spare one that's all black, but it's not what I need. So, break time, and then come back for final thoughts. Okay, guys, so when it comes to this kit, you know, you guys can tell that I definitely put more effort into it than I did pretty much anything else so far this year. There's a couple things that you guys haven't seen yet that I put more effort into that were after this, so to speak. But so far, like, as something that I have not built before, I really dig it. And I like the designs, and because I like the Tierens, and this thing is definitely screaming based on Tierens, I really do dig it. Now, my paint work isn't the best, but it's super hot outside and humid when I painted. I don't care. It looks fine. It'll look good on a shelf. Some of the things are a little bit weird, like the gun, the way it mounts on the thing. While I appreciate weapon storage, it's silly that it mounts that way. I wish it was sideways, so the gun is like dangling down here. The beam sabers are so dumb with the way they are displayed and stuff like that. Rather the fact they're solid, clear. It's so dumb. I really wish they hadn't done that. Now I think I could maybe it's a different one I'm thinking of that had storage under the shield. It's got to be in one of the other kits. I thought there was one that kept the beam sabers under the shield. But either way, it's cool. These little panels right here come off, so I'm guessing those are for a different version of the head that I don't have yet. And like I said, I really want the standard ALAWS version, and I definitely want Mr. Bushido's ahead, because I like this kit. I want to do more of them, and those are very, very cool, different variants. Now, let me know what you think down below. Is it funny that they made this mobile suit so much bigger than even their standard one? Is it something kind of like what they did with the Goof versus the Zaku, you know, where Goof is a much bigger version of the same thing? Stuff like that. But the fact that they have very similar technologies, similar everything, but based out of like a different country may have designed it in reality. So, but give me a little thumbs up down there below. Leave a comment, obviously, if you have any ideas and or opinions about this guy. I know that October usually brings out a lot of opinions, and some people who like to try to correct me on things. It is what it is. But of course, if you guys want to help support the channel and support 00CTOBER, go ahead and check out the Patreon and be like John Thomas and Megan. And of course, if you want to help out in other ways but get something to show for it, especially this month, check out the 00CTOBER gear, because it's really, really cool. As of filming this, actually I saw somebody very, very recently bought regular 00CTOBER stuff from the previous year right before I announced the new merch. I bet you're feeling silly now. But all the previous 00CTOBER merch is available, the tour shirts and stuff like that. And anything else, you've got mugs, you've got stickers, there should have been beanies. I'm a little angry that there aren't. I don't know what happened to those. So hopefully I can figure that part out. But and then, of course, this being the end of this week, something special happening next week, and a special announcement tomorrow for said thing. So, but guys, I will catch you next week, and remember, as always, to keep on building.